Sorry it took so long to get back to y'all. um, Life busy. So I'm just tell y'all it from the beginning. I know like I wrote out what happened in the beginning, but let me just start from the beginning. So as Christian says, I picked Christian up from the bus stop. He's so upset that he's like about to start crying. Um, he's just frustrated. So I get him to calm down. I asked him to tell me what's going on. He tells me that he's sitting on the bus with with one little girl who is a bus monitor. They're in the same seat. There's a the girl behind him, the culprit in all of this. She's sitting behind them. He and the little girl sharing a seat are playing, minding their business. The other little girl, feeling left out, I guess, reaches around the side of the seat, hits Christian. He tells her to stop and goes back to playing with the other little girl. She does it again. He says it to the little girl like, she keep hitting me. Now the little girl didn't do anything, so he's like, I don't know if she just didn't want to get involved, like, or if she didn't hear me or what, but she didn't do anything. So when the girl did it a third time, he reached over the seat backwards, right, and hit the girl. Not even looking, just reached over the seat, like, leave me alone type, right? So, um, and I'm like, okay, like, why are you so upset, you know? So he's not upset about what happened. He's upset about the reaction that he's getting. And now this is the important part. Because one thing I'm not going to teach my black boy, okay, is that it's okay for people to lie on him, especially women. That it's okay for women to hit him, anybody, but especially women. I'm not a parent who, oh, they must like, we don't do that around here. Y'all need therapy. We don't do that around here. Um, yeah, so he's upset because he says after he hit the little girl, she starts crying. Of course, the one who started the trouble is making the scene, right? Karen. So she starts crying. Everybody's all excited. The kids are all excited because nobody sees any of this except for the people that are involved and like two other people, right? Two other children. So the girl starts crying. She says Christian hit her in the eye, and everybody's going crazy, right? Now everybody wants to tell the bus driver. So the bus driver, he says, oh, I got smoke for her too. Yeah, I got smoke for her too. So the bus driver, he says, he, the bus driver hears a little girl's story, which is, I did nothing basically, right? We'll get into her story a little bit later when we talk about the mom. Basically, she did nothing. He just hauled off and hit her. So anyway, then the bus driver asked Christian for his side. And this is why I got the smoke. He tells her the same thing he told me. Now, any logical adult would recognize, oh, that sounds like a full story, right? Not I did nothing to him and he swung off and hit me. No, everybody's reacting to the girl crying. So Christian looks like the bad guy. The bus driver flat out told Christian she didn't believe him. And that's why I got the smoke. Because how do you, a whole fucking adult hears this and is reactive to emotions versus being the adult, right? Now, I'm not a parent who like is going to immediately be like, my kid did nothing. I know my child. I know what he will and won't do. Okay? And I know how he reacts. I pay so y'all. I got ADHD, pattern recognition. First of all, also that's my child. So like, I know him better then I know the palm of my hand. Okay, back of my hand, palm of my hand, myself. I know him. He has been taught properly de-escalation methods since toddler, right? He has been Christian got a dope ass mom. Period. Period. So I'd be knowing what's going on. So I got smoked with a bus driver. But anyway, so he's really upset that everybody's reacting like this when the girl started it. So I tell him to calm down. Tell him it's no beef. He's like, well, she's going to get me in trouble. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, this is also another reason. I might need a what is it? Mediator for the bus driver for real, because she threatened him that she was going to tell the principal, right, on him for this. And this is why he's upset, because he thinks he's in trouble. So I let him know. You know, mommy got you. Like, you good. He calms down. That same day, because he was staying with me this week. And the bus is like by his dad's house. So that same day, I get a phone call from his brother. He's like, this lady's at the door talking about Christian hit this little girl. From what she said, I know she not telling the truth. The brother, Deshaun know immediately, BS, right? So, I get on the phone with the lady, and she makes 0 sense. She's like, oh, you know, he hit my daughter in the eye. I'm calm. Christian, I said, I'm aware. He told me what happened. Just like that. Yes, you know, she could be hurt. That's dangerous, all this stuff. And I said, did she tell you what happened? Yeah, and you know, she has her friends here. And I said, well, that's a problem from the beginning because those are her friends. So she's like, but all the kids are saying the same thing. Lady, please get out of my face talking about what kids is talking about in a high pressure situation. Girl, anyway. So, I mean, it comes off very condescending, and sometimes I mean it to, because I'm so dry. But I'm usually so dry because if I get how I feel, like, it's problematic. So, she's on the phone and she tells me, I told her I heard his side. I said, let me hear her side. So all the kids are talking in the background and all this stuff. And I said, that don't even make sense. Right? Because her story again is her daughter did nothing. So when I say it don't make sense, I said that's logical to you. I said it's logical that he just walked up and hauled off on her and she didn't do nothing. She said, well, she said she made a joke. The kid says she made a joke. Again, that's logical to you. So anyway, and then she's like, well, everybody's saying the same thing. And I say, listen, I don't care what no kid's talking about right now. I said, I got the full story from him. What you told me makes 0 sense. But his story makes sense because it includes everything that everybody did, who was around, witnesses and all. I said, so, yeah. What you need to happen from this, basically. Now at this point, I'm kind of raising my voice, but not on purpose. Like, she has these kids in the background. Once I'm telling her Christian side of the story, all these kids in the background trying to talk over me, right? So I'm talking loud now. So when I get done and I tell her I met this situation like a logical adult, and it don't make sense, right? Because I said that, and I'm talking loud, now she feel like it's beef. Now she's like, Well, you don't have to raise your voice at me. I said, I wouldn't have to raise my voice if your background wasn't so noisy. I can hear everything. So, of course, I'm going to elevate my voice. And I'm talking to her dry as fuck. So she says, she calms down. Now, one thing that I recognize in people when they don't have a point in real life or they've been proven wrong and they don't want to let it go is that they then start trying to pick any other, nothing relevant. They will pick at anything and make it a thing. So that's what she was doing with the raising your voice thing, right? So then she calms down after I says that, like, it makes the kids quiet. Cause girl, why did I have to tell you that, first of all? Anyway, so then she's like, well, I told y'all, she said, try to threaten me with taking it to the school. And my response was, we can do that. I mean, just like that. As soon as I said it, she's like, well, I don't want to get anybody's, I wouldn't want to put that on anybody's child. I said, no. I said, I'm pretty sure that, like, this happened on the bus. There's cameras on the bus. I'm pretty sure it's on film. So we can run a tape back. And then she was like, well, I'm going to see what happens with her eye. And if it's swollen tomorrow, then we're going to have to take it to the school. We can do that. So what would you like to do? I said, matter of fact, we can meet at the bus stop. She said, we agreed, right, to meet. But now she did tell me she wasn't sure if she would be able to make it after school. She kept feeling the need to tell me she was a nurse for some reason. I don't know if that was supposed to make her appear smarter, because during our conversation, I kept shutting her bullshit down. Because again, I met her not as a mother, just as a fucking logical human person with sense. So, we agree, bus stop after school. Cool. I go to the bus stop after school the next day. And Shawnee meets me up there. Shawnee, his brother, meets me up there. And he comes sit in the car with me because, like, I ain't go up there hot. Like, first of all, Joy, I prayed before I went. I prayed before I went, okay? I prayed. And I was hoping it was going to go well. So, I didn't meet her with heat. Deshaun immediately, as soon as he got in the car with me, he was like, this is nonsense. Like, Christian didn't do that. I'm like, I know. And then, people start walking up because time is coming for the bus to come. And this lady walks up and Deshaun is like, oh, that's her. I guess the lady that, because he was at his dad's house when she came to the door. And so he called me and I talked to her on his phone. So, she and I exchanged numbers also at the end of that, So I then tell her, oh no, we're at the bus stop. Lady walks up with a little girl. He's like, this her. I ain't get out the car. I'm not coming in hot. I'm cool all the time. Even when I'm choosing violence, I'm cool. So the bus comes, the kids getting off the bus. Me and him get out the car. We walk up to the corner, letting the kids get off the bus. Christian finally gets off the bus, and then she walks up to me because then the little girl's off the bus too. And she's like, are you his mom? And I'm like, yeah. So she was just like, my sister talked to you. I said, your sister? She was like, yeah, she couldn't make it. She was like, I'm her aunt. So now I'm not even talking to the mom no more. I'm talking to an auntie. Now, I ain't like that, right? Because I want to talk to the mom. I get, some family dynamics, everybody tight, but I don't do that. I don't do all of that. I want to go to the source, right? But cool. Mom not here. She did say she might not be able to make it. Cool. Auntie's here. Let's see if you're logical. Let's see if you have some reasoning in you. So the aunt is like, yeah, so she says that he hit her in the eye, and I'm like, I've heard his story and I've heard her story. And I said, the point of us meeting here today was to talk to the people that actually saw it. And so she's like, well, she was like, her mom came up here this morning. So the mom went to the bus stop in the morning. Now, my problem with this is it's coercion, right? You go talk to some kids in the morning about a situation that was overhyped in the first place, and nobody really saw it. They just reacting to the girl and her story. So their story is her story because they're kids. And it's like, this is an injustice, and kids are like that. You know, like, that's not okay. He hit her. She said he hit her, and that's not okay, right? So, of course, everybody's going to tell you that because that's what she told them. So I'm already irritated. I don't work with children. I don't work with parents, right? And it's, I don't like for people to manipulate kids in any kind of way. I don't like that. So, she lets me know, oh, her mom came up here in the morning and talked to kids, and they were agreeing that this happened. And I said, I don't care about any of that, and for the reasons that I gave you. So she says, and I said, did she tell you what happened? Like, did she tell you what I said, what his story is? She was stuttering. All of a sudden, nobody know nothing. So I said, let me tell you, right? I tell her Christian side. I said, so now you tell me, is it more logical that he just walked up and hauled off on this girl for no reason? Or is it more plausible that all of this happened in detail and with the detail that he gave? And she said, well, we didn't say she didn't do anything. She made a joke. I said, come the fuck on. Then I had to calm myself down because you're not finna play with me. So I'm like, anyway, we're up here to talk to the witnesses. So let's get the witnesses. So then she's like, oh, her friends. I said, no, I don't want to talk to her friends. I said, because they're kids. They're her friends. They're going to take up for her, right? I said, I want to talk to the people who actually saw what happened. So as I'm saying this, one of the little girls walks up, overhyped to tell me what she knows, right? So she's like, are you Christian's mom? I'm like, yes, baby. So she's like, well, Christian. She starts telling the story, right? But I let her talk a little bit. But as soon as she started talking, she looks over to the culprit and tries to get her to, like, confirm the story. She's like, right? And I said, why are you asking her? I said, I heard her side. I heard his side. I asked you. I said, I don't have questions for her. I'm asking you. So she starts talking again and looks over to the girl again and says, right. I said, okay, we're not finna do this. I said, where were you sitting on the bus? This girl's sitting in front of both of them. So she in a seat, a couple seats ahead, couple seats back is Christian and the bus monitor. And then behind them is the culprit. So I'm like, so you didn't see anything? And she stuttered. Okay, you can go. So then I looked to the auntie like this. I said, you see what I mean? I said, so that's not a witness. I said, she didn't even see what happened. I said, again, they're reacting to her crying. So she was like, now she's realizing she don't have a leg to stand on. Because even as I'm telling her Christian side of the story, this is funny. Like, the auntie knew. She knew it wasn't true. But at this point, she got to stick to the story, right? Because while I'm telling her Christian side of the story, she looks at the little girl, like, and kind of muffles, I can't think of words right now. She says her name very lowly and looks at her, but continues listening, right? So when I get done telling her the story and then the little girl comes up and I dismiss the little girl, she don't have nothing left. So what'd she say? Well, you know, she repeats that the mom went up there. And again, I don't care. What are we talking about? Adult. So then she says, well, now she wants to make it a big deal that the girl got hit in the eye. Well, it's very dangerous to hit someone in the eye I agree with you. It wasn't on purpose. So what next? Right? So she literally just keeps repeating that it's dangerous to get hit in the eye. And I'm getting irritated at this point. So then I'm like, so what you want to do? Just like that. So what you want to do? She said, well, it's not okay. I said, listen. I said, at this point, I'm not about to talk in circles with you or your sister. Because that's what we're doing. We're talking in circles. You want to believe this girl did absolutely nothing. She's an angel. She did nothing to warrant this. Okay. I said, let's run the tapes back. Because, again, the bus got tapes. It's going to be on camera. Run it back if y'all still got a problem and y'all still want to make this an issue, right? So I say that. She got a little hype. Now her energy is coming real hot. She not bucking, but the y'all know I'm an empath. She coming in real hot. So I'm like, I'm not phased by it. I'm still calm because you don't make no fucking sense. And you know it don't make sense. And you're just literally just trying to find any point to make you feel justified in what's going on here. So when I say run the tapes back, let's take it to the school, she gets loud. Oh, we can do that. Yeah, we can. I'm still calm. And then she starts saying about the eye again. And I was like, well, if she wouldn't, I said, listen, this is the root cause. I said, the root cause is if she would have kept her hands to herself, she wouldn't have got hit. So she says, but she says I don't believe that. So again, if she would have kept her hands to herself, she wouldn't have got hit. Well, we need to teach our kids. No, we need to teach our kids to keep their hands to themselves so that they don't get hit back. So then there's no talking at this point. She still want to talk. She literally just keeps repeating, hitting somebody in the eye is dangerous. Hitting somebody. And I'm like, so what? She won't get hit if she keep her hands to herself. So she says it one more time. And I'm like, well, let's take it to the school. She was like, we can do it. I said, let's take it to the school. I've been offering this option since y'all brought it. So she walks away all hype. Not in my face, though. She, in my face, her energy was hot, but she was not, okay? Now, there's something about my calm that is scary. And it should be concerning because when I'm animated, I'm just like usually just regurgitating, like whatever it is. When I'm super calm, it's because I know I have to be because I know my level of darkness, right? Is y'all know my light, but the darkness is heavy, right? And so that's why I be trying to keep the peace. That's why I try to move in peace. So she wasn't hype in my face, but as she's walking away, she's hype. Now she talking loud. Girl, shut the hell up. So anyway, y'all want to know what happened after that? The incident happened last week. Thursday. And then this situation with the aunt at the bus stop was Friday. Today is... Actually, no, that's not true. That's not true. Y'all can see the post. I don't remember what day it happened. The point is, nothing happened. You know why nothing happened? Because they know that little girl fucking lying. You wanted to come behind your child all hype like a child yourself, instead of just actually listening to everything and then coming up with your own conclusion. So many people lack critical thinking skills, and it is ridiculous. The mom, for some reason, when I was on the phone with her, kept trying to tell me she was a nurse, and I was getting irritated because That don't make you smart. You know nuanced things that maybe I don't or everybody else don't know, right? Because that's what you studied. It don't make you smart. And I'm tearing her up on that phone just as calm as just as calm as ever. And she can't take it. So she sent a sister. Now I don't know why people like to involve other people. Now it could be that she just couldn't make it and she wanted, you know, still to have a representative. That could be the case. But part of me feels like the sister is the hype one. And so it was intentional to send the sister because she couldn't get me herself. Now the sister who gives hype girl energy, the one you call when your sister got beat, the sister, she recognized that I'm not the one or the two. Okay. I don't like to get other people involved. My sister, crazy as hell. I can call her for stuff. I don't. Brother, crazy as I don't. If anybody's gonna get in trouble for something that I got going on, it's gonna be me. It's gonna be me. I don't need help. I am enough. If you know me, you know I am enough. So anyway, nothing fucking happened. Now I'm gonna let this week go and see if I hear anything. But I don't think I'm gonna hear anything. I asked Christian, I said, the little girl been talking to you? He said no. I said, cool. I even asked him about the little girls that was trying to tell him. I said, you be talking to him? He was like, yeah. I was like, why? They was trying to lie on you. What I don't want my son, my black son, to think is that any of this shit is cool. To think that he not gonna have nobody have his back. To think that people are just automatically gonna believe someone else, especially if it's a girl or a woman. We not doing that shit at all. The way that this child is being trained up, he's not nothing to play with already. Okay? You got the right one, baby. you got the right mom. You got the right kid. Right? Yeah, so nothing came of it. They just not speaking to each other. We'll see how this week goes. I'm gonna check in and make sure everything's still copacetic. But guess what? Nothing fucking happened because nothing really did happen. For what? For what? Y'all get weird behind these kids. Y'all really be fucking these kids up behind your weird. Parent. Be an adult. Use your brain. There's no reason why a fucking 7-8-year-old can come say something to you and you don't question anything about it. Grow up. But yeah. Yep. And one last thing I wanna leave on this note. Stop. Listen. Titty almost came out. I am not a parent who teaches my child that people like you if they hitting on you and messing with you and picking with you and doing this stupid. Why do y'all teach y'all kids that toxic shit when you know it's toxic? I've been having issues with little girls since preschool, okay? I got a Capricorn child. He not even into girls right now like that. He's 8. And he's not growing up in a dysfunctional household. And he has parents. Like solid ass parents. Especially this one. Okay? I talk to him constantly, nonstop. We have the same conversations every year at a higher level. My dude is solid, okay? Because his mama's solid. So, would I refuse? Again, is to let my black son think that it's cool to be lied on, to be hit on, to be abused in any kind of way because he is a boy. We don't play that shit around here. I don't play that shit in my life. None of that shit sweet around me. You can't be around me on that type of shit. And that be a lot of y'all problems. Y'all love toxic environments. Y'all just sit in the midst of it. Because you the smartest person in the room. That's not how my life works, baby. I love being around people that feed me. I love being around people I could learn from. And because I am forever inquisitive, so is my child. Because that's how I teach him. Okay? Do better. Do fucking better. Because what I don't want is for him to grow up and have to deal with the version of what the fuck is already out here. I will say, millennial parents are the best fucking parents. Because we're the change makers. We done been through too much, okay? We are the change makers. Nugget fee bug, but we too old for that shit, right? We are the change makers. We gonna do it through the next generation, right? We gonna do it through our children. We gonna do it all that way. We gonna make sure it's better. And our children are the revolution. So please, parent your fucking kids and be a fucking adult. Even in the midst of you needing to digest their feelings and what has happened to them and how they feel wronged. Grow up, learn how to remove yourself, deal with that, and then come back to it. And I promise you, your responses, your answers will usually be different. Because make it make fucking sense.